Hello YouTube, this is Asatsu 5 and today I got a knife review for you today. This is the Case XX Folding Hunter. This is a special one. It's an exclusive to Shepherd Hill cutlery called the from the Whaling series. It's called the Pursuit. And I got the last one with these fancy bolster works on them. I don't know if they're planning on making any more of them with this fancy bolster on the engraving work on them, but they still have this Pursuit model with the standard bolsters. And I'll talk about the price on that one instead of the price on this one. But before we get started, let's talk about the stats and specifications, because to me that's always the boring part. The item number is 8877. The pattern number is 6265SS. SS standing for stainless steel. That's the true sharp steel. And it comes with a clip and skinner blade. The closed length is 5 1/4 inches. Like I said, this is from the Well series, and it's called the Pursuit, and it has natural bone that is laser engraved to put the Scrimshaw image on it. The Scrimshaw itself is designed by Linda Korst, and she does amazing work with her Scrimshaw. I went on her website. She's very talented, and I was really excited about getting this knife. Now, this is where things kind of go south for me. I was disappointed in this particular knife when I got it in the mail. And let me zoom back up on the image so you can kind of know what I'm talking about. Oops, sorry about that. Kind of have to play with this a little bit. There's the image that's on my knife. And let's see if I can pull it up on my phone. And you might not be able to see it. There's the image on the website. As you can see, there's a good difference between the image as far as its shading and its detail. You got a lot more shadow on my knife, on the Whale, than you do on the picture. And especially on the men's faces and the harpoon, you see a whole lot more detail than you do on my knife. My knife, the details on the human faces aren't so well, and the harpoon isn't as defined. You'll also notice on this one that you have a seagull. You got seagulls actually in the picture, and then you got a cloud right there. This one, you really can't tell that those seagulls. You'd have to look really close. You can kind of see it right there, but if you're just glancing at it, it looks like another cloud. But what I'm really not so happy about is the details. The details on this knife aren't as defined as the one that's on the website. And I've came to the conclusion, oh, sorry about that, didn't mean to move the table, but I've came to the conclusion why my knife is like this is because Linda Korst most likely did this knife that's on the website. But they laser engraved the bone on the knives that they were selling. So I'm assuming with the laser, you can't get as much detail as you can if you're hand carving it out with blades. So therefore the detail suffers. Now, do I still like this knife? I do. I'm a little disappointed, but it's still a good knife. It's still, if I show this off to people, they're going to be impressed with the Scrimshaw. They're not going to notice the lack of detail. That's just something that I noticed because I just have an eye for that kind of thing. This particular knife costs around $90, but the one without the fancy bolsters on it cost $72.99, and so you get the same artwork, you just don't get the fancy bolsters. And if you're interested in collecting case knives, then I'd say this is a good collectible. They're probably not going to make these particular knives forever. You know, these are probably going to be a limited thing. Once they sell them out, they're either going to stop making them or they're going to make just a couple more runs of it. I can't remember if I said this at the beginning of the video, but this is a exclusive knife from Shepherd Hill Cutlery, which is an online dealer for case knives. So you're not going to find this knife on any other website. So, but now that we got the artwork out of the way and let's talk about the knife itself. Let's pretend the knife doesn't have this fancy scenery on it, and let's just talk about it as a knife. Well, first off, the knife has no half stops, which could be a plus or a minus for some people. If they put the half stops on it, they probably would have to charge a little bit more. I don't think they would have to, but they probably would. But this knife has no half stops. That's a safety feature that a lot of other knives, including case knives, have, that just makes the knife, you know, that much better. It's not a deal breaker, but it is something worth noting. The pull weight on this knife, I'd say it's about a 6 or a 7. It's not very difficult. The blades are long, so you get a good bit of leverage. It's nothing that's going to break your thumbnail. It's very easy to open and shut. As you can see, it comes with a mirror polish, as you can see me in the camera, which I really love mirror polish blades. I really do. The back is blank, so I guess if you knew someone who was good at scrimshaw, they could put something on there. But the knife itself, the blade steel, that they're stainless steel, true sharp steel. It gets razor sharp, but it's not going to hold the edge for very long. But it's very easy to sharpen. It's not a big deal. I kind of would like to see a little bit higher performing steel by case, but it's not bad. It's not bad by any means. It gets the job done. And the average Joe can sharpen this. This knife is pretty hefty. I can't tell you how much it weighs because I don't have a scale and they don't mention it on the website, but it's a hefty knife. And it's a rather large folding knife as far as slip joints are concerned. And I found if I put this in my front pocket or my back pocket just by itself, it tends to float around. It'll get caught up horizontal or at an angle, and it gets really uncomfortable to carry in the pocket. You really notice that it's there, and it can sometimes be a little bit difficult to get out of the pocket and use. And y'all probably know by now I'm more of a tactical knife kind of guy, but I was going through a slip joint phase, and I noticed this knife was a little bit more difficult to use. Now, I found out something really cool. Just get my wallet. You put your wallet in your back pocket, depending on what pocket you want to use, but just one of the back pockets, and then you place the knife alongside it like that. It keeps the knife straight, vertical in your back pocket, and it doesn't float around and it doesn't get into awkward positions. It stays there. And I found out that's the easiest way to carry this knife, and it's not as noticeable if you have it in your front pocket or just free floating around and going all over the place. So I really enjoy carrying it like this in my back pocket, and I wanted to share that with you as something to keep in mind if you're going to get a folding Hunter to EDC. It's weird, I got a folding hunting knife to EDC. That's kind of strange. EDC means different things to different people. If you ask me what was the best EDC knife, or best case EDC knife, I would say it would be the Swayback Jack, because it has the Wharncliffe blade. It's great for opening up mail, opening up boxes, using as an X-Acto knife. It's awesome. But not all people expect that kind of work from their EDC knife. Some people live out in the country. They might be ranchers or farmers. Instead of opening up mail and breaking down boxes and using the knife as an X-Acto knife, they might be cutting rope or high friction material, and they might need a larger EDC knife. So that's where this knife may come into play. If you live in the city or suburbia and you have very light EDC tasks, this knife probably won't be for you. Now if you go hunting, it'll be a good hunting knife, but as an EDC knife, you probably don't need it. But if you're one of those people who cuts a lot of rope, has a little bit more hardcore EDC tasks to handle than the average Joe, you might be interested in this knife. And it's a good looking knife. Even without the fancy bolsters, it's a good looking knife. I love the whaling artwork on here. And as you know, in America, whaling played a big part in American history. It was the industry during the 1800s, 1700s, because we didn't have crude oil. So we had to use the oil from whales. We had to use the, we used something called amorphous or something like that for perfume. But whaling was a big industry. A lot of jobs were incorporated around it. And it has a very interesting history. Look up the Essex. It's very interesting. Inspired the novel Moby Dick. So I really enjoyed this from an artistic point of view and from a historical point of view, because the whalers, they spend months, years out to sea at a time, and what they would do to pass the time is they'll get the teeth from whales that they killed and they'll do scrimshaw on them. And this is kind of a nod back to that history. In case you're interested, I'm not totally against whaling, as long as it's necessary for survival, or if it's necessary for survival. I really don't think modern superpowers need to whale, so don't do it. But those places like in Alaska, Scandinavia, places that are subsistence fishermen and hunters, that's a lot of meat for them, and I have no problem with those people killing whales. They'll do it legitimately to feed their families. I have no problem with that. But I don't think America should get back into whaling. I don't think Japan should really be doing it. They don't need to. It's not a necessity. But as far as I'm concerned, they're just other animals. But as long as it's regulated and the people are in truly need of the meat, I really don't care. That's my little spill on that. Let's see if I forgot anything. Pull weight, I went over that. Yeah, I think I covered just about everything to cover with this knife. No half stops, 6 or 7 pull weight. So that's it. That's my review on the Shepherd Hill Case Cutlery Whale Series knife. They got other Whale Series knives that have different depictions of whaling on it. Some of them have a map on it. Some of them have different whales on it. Some of them are called like the sighting and all that kind of stuff. And there should be a flavor out that you would like. Again, the artwork is from Linda Korst, and this is about $72.99 on that website. I'm Asatsu5. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm out.